call a meeting to order and we'll pass out the folders. Tom, did you have something, a question there?
I think we're missing, Chris, building permits for Owen and,
Oh, you want, print those
White.
out?
I got most of them, but I don't have Owen and White.
What's the matter?
Just a building permit that they went to.
Okay, which one, Owen?
Mm-hmm.
That might be my fault, because all of a sudden the printers decided to back up yesterday.
Yeah, I thought we weren't printing those anymore. You still want those?
Well, I had a question on the Owen and White, I wanted to ask you guys.
Okay, is that the only one, Owen?
Yeah.
Brian, what's Claudian, what's that one?
This is, one of them, the $500 is postage.
Okay, this is the whole postage system?
Yeah.
Okay,
one
good.
One of them is the postage, and the other one is the
Got it.
monthly,
Okay.
the quarterly, rather, that's the quarterly.
Perfect, okay.
Does anybody remember what date we were gonna meet with, Mr. Schofield? I didn't seem to write that down.
I don't think I did either.
And Chuck, so you know, the $500, when we first purchased it, was into the executive postage.
Yep.
As people use it, they can split it out.
Split it out, okay.
So that's it, right after a $500 purchase, executive postage was completely inflated.
Okay.
Well, it is.
There you go, Selectmen Tom.
You look a little more rested than when I saw you last. That's a good act I got going on.
Brian, did that email response from the CPA answer the question you were trying to get to?
Yeah.
Okay,
Basically,
okay,
it's because you'll see a check in there for what he basically told me to do is write me up.
okay.
Took it out of, conduct.
Yep, perfect, okay.
Some point, Brian, if you have an opportunity, I'd love to get a copy of the liabilities report, because you've got something totally different going on these days with liabilities, right? That, yeah. But we need to talk when you look at it. Okay, all right. Because when they moved to 2019 to 2020, they put some stuff in equity we don't use. And they also did not appear as put the, total amount of the,
Where did all this stuff come from?
All right. Well, yeah, I haven't seen that, it's all new, so I figured probably oughta,
Well, that was a DRA, where DRA said to put it. Actually, if you go through the bills, if we had a paycheck that was lost at one point in time for Susan Seeley last year. We're trying to close out that account.
Yeah.
I checked with the auditor, and the auditor indicated to void the check. Don't worry, this kind of bothers me a little bit, but seems how he's the auditor. Don't worry about the fact that you're getting the taxes are going back into the general fund, so you really already paid it. And just write a new check for the amount that you owe her without tax.
we had them out, okay, yeah.
And they charge that to the equity, not to liability, which I did. That's when I discovered when they transferred the money over, they didn't put all of the, fund balance into the equity, which they probably should have done. So I'm struggling with trying to figure that out to make sure that it's right. But the auditor's apparently gonna look at it in equity, not in liability. And that may change.
After the audit.
That may change, well, the bridge fund in particular, I'm concerned about the Elm Street Bridge, because I was gonna make that a liability. He's probably gonna have us use it as an equity, and that would make sense because it was initially even taken out of the, fund balance, not raised by taxes on the Elm Street Bridge, because I looked it up. And the fact that it's in equity moving across for the next year. So I think the auditor may say that we need to do the bridge monies that were carried over out of equity rather than a liability like the DRA said. COVID-19 clearly needs to go into a liability that might come in on COVID-19 because it's to be used this year, but not to offset the budget. You can't use it for it, so it becomes a liability when you bring it in, and you draw that down to zero as you spend it out. So that makes sense, but I'm a little concerned and need to talk to the auditor a little more, but I'm putting stuff together right now for the auditor, for him to come in on the audit anyway, so, we'll fix all of that when he shows up. The money's accounted for, I'm just not convinced it's accounted for in the right places.
Yep, I followed you, okay.
But it makes a lot more sense for the bridges to be in equity on that money carried over from previous years, all that was taken out of the fund balance to begin with.
Oh, okay.
Scribble. Sorry to take so long.
That's all, no, it's important to know.
Well, there's some stuff that was carried over that is strange, at least as far as I know. So I'm trying to figure that out, why it wound up where it wound up. The gurus that came in just carried over what was in the 2019 book, so how it got to where it was is what's taking the time to go back and figure out.
Well, they're not municipal bookkeepers.
That's correct.
Right, so, yeah.
Which created a bigger hassle.
Yeah. There's a slight disconnect, even if they were bookkeepers with municipal stuff. To be expected. Be a few little glitches.
Well, unfortunately, that was learned by...
Trial by fire?
Yeah, it was learned by having to fix it after it was supposed to be fixed.
This brings, this receipt here from NRRA for a check brings me to a question I had for you anyway, which was how are you making out to segregate funds for that special fund?
And I'm going to kind of turn it over to Christine a little bit because she's been doing the spreadsheet trying to backtrack.
Okay.
I think the new system is much better.
Yeah, now that they have the buttons on the tape at their transfer station figured out, it's making it a little easy, and that's what I'm working on right now.
Okay, so we're gathering still that information so that we can,
The transfer station stuff coming in from the cash register, now that we've got it consistent, we're matching with the stuff coming from NRRA, and that will give us a really good comparison. We've only gotten one NRRA sheet so far, so I'd like to get a second one to really feel comfortable. Our problem is working backwards and trying to figure out from the town meeting on 14th.
right,
To when we started getting the cash register tapes consistent with something that they consistently keyed in the correct item for the correct income and matching it with NRRA.
the NRRA sheets have a breakdown for certain things, so that's probably a little clearer to segregate.
The new ones have a great breakdown.
Yeah, that's because we're non-net now.
We've got one of those.
Yeah, well, that's the shift to non-net.
But what before that, the breakdown is a little more difficult to go back and try to segregate out. But Christine's doing it, was looking at cash register tapes that we received and looking at theirs, and I think we're getting a fairly close breakdown. We know what the real bottom line is, we just don't know if we got the breakdown exact.
Well, I'm less concerned about the breakdown, I guess, for categorizing what matched the money. I'm more concerned about the money. If we had money come in from the transfer station on a weekly basis, that we capture that amount to put in that fund, and then going back on the sheets for NRRA, expenses versus revenue, that's probably break out pretty straightforward.
That's not always as straightforward as you think, because the transportation costs get mixed in.
Well,
That's what's taking the time to figure.
The $100 for metal in the past is now a hauling fee of $125.
Yeah.
So yeah, but that's all on those sheets, so hopefully that's not too difficult. There's probably only a few sheets anyway that have come in, between March and today, probably 3 or, maybe 4.
Probably one a month anyway, sometimes more, because we get a sheet every time they do a pickup.
Right, and they're not like waste management, they're not monthly or week, every couple of weeks. All right, so it's a work in progress. We get this totaled up, and then we have to set up an account through the treasurer, I should say. Okay. All right.
Well, actually, we're gonna do it as a bookkeeping account rather than an actual,
That's gotta be kept separate from the general fund.
That's correct, but we can do that in a bookkeeping manner rather than having it set up a separate checking account.
The problem, my own personal feeling is we segregate all kinds of money. The world believes we have segregated all these things, and then when I became a selectman, I got into the books and found out we don't segregate anything. And previous boards had spent all the money that's supposed to be everywhere. So unless we secure this in a separate account, I personally don't have a lot of faith in the people who are gonna sit here, or in your job, or in my job, or anybody else, that this is gonna get done. If that money shifts on a, monthly basis into that account, and it's a separate account, then I feel very confident at the end of the rainbow, when we have to buy new compactors or something, and we're supposed to have that money there, it'll be there. Because if we overspend out of our checking account, basically, we've overspent and that money will be gone. That's my concern, but I'll talk about that in another session.
Yep.
And what do you got, Chuck? Okay.
Claudia and Lisa?
Right.
That's postage.
Listen up to this.
That's the whole postage thing.
Time around.
Okay.
Quadrant, Chuck already went through this. Quadrant is postage meter people.
Yeah.
We get one bill from them, which is postage, and we buy that in $500 chunks.
Yeah.
We get another bill from them quarterly, which is
Rental.
the lease on the meter.
Right.
This happens to have both in it, one $500 chunk for postage to Quadrant, and one
$62.93.
$62.93 for the quarterly postage lease. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does.
Because Chuck just asked me the same.
I didn't recognize the vendor, and I saw a lease, and it's like, okay.
Yep, no problem.
Thank you.
And when you look at a budget to actual, if it's right after we have purchased postage, I have to put that in a lineup. I put it in the executive line item, and we use
Yeah, I did see
it,
that.
and then I back it out and put it
Yeah.
in the correct area.
Makes sense.
But if you happen to look at a budget to actual, immediately after we've purchased postage, you'll think the executive postage is way out of whack. It's not.
No, that's, I follow you. That makes sense.
If Mike already seen the bill.
No, okay. If she hasn't, I apologize for that. He didn't ask.
Well, we should close on clock when we want to shut down that, really drop off. But, it's going to be, but for the kind of people, yeah, that's what we should do.
Thank you, sir. Ooh, it's thicker than normal.
Mark, I gotta ask a bookkeeping question on Kevin.
Yeah.
A lot of time, he has grading on a particular road, and then he also has trucking, which I'm assuming is bringing in material. I'm putting that all under road contractor.
Yeah.
I'm only putting the stuff to be attached with yellow slips to under material.
Yeah. You got it. Yeah, we pay for those, the truck by the hour, those kind of things. Yeah, the 3/4 CBR, that probably came with a yellow slip.
It's got a yellow slip attached to it.
Oh, there it is in the back. It's in behind it, I didn't see it, the first one I came across.
little taken back by the price of gas and
You know it? Yeah. Price of advertising is, pretty hefty to consider that for next year's budget in case we need to adjust that. Our cleaning lady is back?
no,
Not yet.
haven't heard from him. Doesn't return calls anymore.
Probably something we're gonna need to look into. You seen this down here?
Yeah. Oh,
Must have had your name right on there when I signed right next to it, right?
okay. Thought it was clear, but maybe, you know.
Brian said I
You
looked
put
for,
stars around it was the problem.
Brian said I looked for a fraction.
He looks a lot better than when I saw him at 5:30 last night.
Alrighty then, going into our agenda, we have conducted a non-public meeting with our town clerk tax collector at 8:45 to 9 a.m. We started our meeting, and I'm going to make a motion to approve a manifest in the amount of $20,186.89. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Hal and I. Move on to our signature folder where we have our minutes of August 4th, the regular meeting minutes. I'll make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Hal and I. We've sent out a letter to Mr. Spofford thanking him for the donation on behalf of Green Mountain Treatment Center.
Well, it will go out, we can
Oh,
find it.
just signed it. It is going out. I stand corrected. We have, again, yield tax for timber cutting in the folder, two of. Action folder, we have a request for a table at the elections for the collection of food for the Freedom Food Pantry, which we have approved. We're fine with doing that.
Do we have any boxes or anything around, or?
I believe Karen Payne and
Well,
folks.
I think her email was she'd like to put something out there, but I think she's looking for us to help with that, that's what I was asking.
Oh, did I miss something in there? I'm unaware of that.
One of the thoughts I had when I saw it is I'll check with her to find out if we can go over maybe to the, Value Grocery Center over there in, West South Street, wherever, and, get a couple of their carriages and borrow them for the day and return them. And she just put a sign on them, that way it's a food carriage, it looks like a food carriage, and if we need to move it, you can roll it, if it's raining, that kind of stuff, so. That might be the easiest, but I can follow up with her to find
Yeah,
out.
I would follow up with her because I think they've used boxes, large cardboard boxes in the past. But
Okay.
They have done this in the past, so they may have a system that,
Okay,
all right, then, Zoning officer's activities was reviewed in the file, in the folder, along with, NRRA's report that's the recycling report for the transfer station. Certain processes the zoning officer will resume on activities here at the office to a limited level. And an approval for, sewage disposal system, an ISDS, individual disposal system. And then, oh my God, Brian's gonna have us here for the rest of the day, is that?
I'll go pretty quick.
Okay, go.
I want to remind you, you got TA application interviews tomorrow morning.
Yep.
The one thing I kind of wanted to, make public is, I've been here about 14 months now. And actually, it has taken that long to feel like I'm kind of uncomfortable. And I just want to bring that up so you know the next person coming in. Now, I'm not advocating a long training period for the next person, but it takes about a year to start to understand the items you have to do for Primex that come in once a year. And I'm going to talk about a couple of those a little further down. It takes about a year to figure out the tax system and how the money's going to flow. And it's just now, it takes about a year to figure out where roads are. So you know what you're talking about when someone's talking about paving, when someone's talking about culverts. It just takes that period of time to start to feel comfortable. Because the first 2 or 3 months, when you talked about Green Mountain Road culverts, I had no idea what you were talking about. So it just takes a little time. I just wanted to give you that piece of information. As we talked about it, I think last week, maybe it was 2 weeks ago, storage, because we're running out of storage and people are keeping things on thumb drives and on computers. And we talked about getting a storage bank, which we had talked about much earlier as a possibility. Lynn Harper sent a quote for the storage bank, and I believe this will all be covered under COVID monies, because the storage issue's been created by this COVID. The actual bank itself is $1,895, and they figure $5 to set it up and train people on how to use it, for a total of $2,495. I think that's a good price, if the board approves us signing it.
Does he outline what the make and model of what he's proposing is?
Say that.
Make and model of the units that he's proposing?
Yeah, he's gonna, Synology DS1819 plus NAS network attached storage, 4 times 6 terabytes, so it'll be 18 terabytes usable.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
It does.
Okay.
So, just to recap a little, this is where we're going to store what exactly that doesn't go into our cloud-based storage.
Well, first of all, what goes into our cloud base is still gonna go into our cloud base for backup. What this is it means that things that, like, I know the planning board has been doing Zoom meetings and been trying to save those, so people can go back and look at them that didn't actually get to Zoom.
Gotcha.
I know that you wanna do Zoom meetings and have that capability here, and we've got the equipment supposed to be installed. That actually they're gonna install it this week, but if we go ahead with this, I'm gonna wait and have them do both next week, so that we do one hit, of them coming up. That'll be able to store that. All that is a huge amount of space, and we've run out of space. So the planning board, I know Teresa talked to one of you, or if not all of you, about the fact that she's got stuff stored on thumb drives, she's got stuff stored on laptop computers that are probably not the pounds.
And Dropbox accounts has exceeded memory.
Okay.
It's becoming an issue.
And what this will actually do is this will probably do away with your Dropbox, everything will be down to Dropbox.
There'll be no reason for it.
Then do away with the cost of the Dropbox, and you will have control over it. This will store all that information here. It will also back up to the cloud, so that if something happens to this building, you've still got the data. is what this does is this means it's all in one location. You don't have to go through a box of thumb drives
Right.
or whatever trying to find what it is you're looking for. And it will be accessible to people that want to look at it after the fact.
So now everybody's gonna be able to, everybody being the boards and employees, be able to put things right to this.
The training part of it, it'll be a secure access training by ID, password, petition within the system. So anybody that does get an access is only gonna access part of the drive, not the whole drive, only that which they're authorized to see. So it's a way to provide that detail for any of the boards or committees to be able to put all the town stuff in one location.
All right, well, it sounds like it's totally justified and necessary. How confident are you that there's some COVID relief money for this? Does that need further?
I'm quite confident that there is.
Oh, okay, that'd be great.
And
I think they'll pay for the whole thing.
Thanks.
And I guess the server storage box. So the consolidated requirement to have a server box, I ordered it. I ordered it with 12 bays. Consolidated said they needed 4. For the setup Brian's talking about, they're probably gonna need 2. So, you know, by having that box, we now also have one location where it'll be able to go into that.
I'll actually give you the, electrician's phone number, so.
That's a little, I need that pretty quick, because Consolidated called yesterday.
Right.
They're going to send me sometime today, or it may have been last night, I haven't checked my email this morning, the install dates, and that's coming up fairly quick, so I need what the electrician needs to do.
So,
And I meant to call him, but I got distracted this past week, so I'm gonna hand off that number to you so that you can contact him and coordinate from here, because you have the most up-to-date information anyway.
so that box is also gonna be mounted to the wall through the concrete, so we're gonna need to drill and kind of do that whole thing, because they can't do any of the install until that is hooked up on the wall. I'll come down and put that together. That's what I was just looking at a minute ago. I want to make sure all the tools were there.
Yep.
It's all hex wrench and it's in there. So it'll probably take about 20 minutes to put it together and be ready to come out.
I can help you with some point, come in and we'll mount that, because I think I have, what we need on the truck right now for anchors, wall anchors and such. But I certainly have all the other
Okay.
kits and.
Let me get that together, and as soon as I do, I'll touch base.
So we're good to go in minutes for this.
Yeah, I would think that
Yep.
it seems like we need to do it. What do you think, Tom?
We need to do it. Don't wanna stop.
Well,
We need to do it.
it's also part of that original review we did last year.
Yeah.
This was a component that we did not do at the time.
Check it out.
So this is actually gonna help us solve the bigger overall strategy for data storage.
Okay, we'll do it.
Anna came to me and what she's interested in doing, I don't know if she's got a yes or a no yet. She was gonna ask Celine if she would come in and do some training for the ballot clerks, because the system is totally different this year than it has been in the past. Because you can't have 2 people at the same table because of COVID separation. So she wanted to hire Celine to become trained and then train the counters for the election. I believe that is also, I know that's gonna be covered. Deanna was supposed to try to get a hold of Bill Fitch yesterday from the Secretary of State's office. I don't know if it's coming out of their money or if it's coming out of Goldberg's. I just don't know the answer to that yet. But I think that Deanna's buried, and so I think this is a good idea. Is everybody on?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. My other thing we talked about just for a minute ago, Consolidated is gonna have the install timetable, today, I believe, for the stuff, so I need the electrician.
Yeah, like I said, when we close this out,
Okay.
I'll give you that contact.
Primex, requires each year that you go through your assets to tell them what you still have, what you don't have, and what needs to be updated. The police department was pretty easy. We're still carrying the Chevy Tahoe, but I think we need to carry it because it's sitting out in the back for liability purposes, if nothing else, until we get rid of it. But now I know it's there. As soon as that Tahoe's gone, we'll take it off.
So what are we're covering the vehicle specifically for auto insurance?
Overall insurance.
I'm not sure why we would need that. Why would we think that we need that? It's not gonna drive away on its own.
No, but what happens if someone drives into it? What happens if it burns up? What happens if it sets fire to the two sides? I'm just, it's not gonna cost you much money.
What's the cost of it?
Huh?
What is the cost?
I don't have
It's
that.
blended as part of the overall big picture. It's because of the size of the policy.
I don't think your rate will increase at all or decrease at all when the Tahoe's gone.
Why?
Because
Because it's so small.
and because your rate is based on your use of the insurance, not on your overall
Number of vehicles?
liability.
But if you take one vehicle off your policy, you gotta be saving something, right?
You won't see the difference. Because the other thing I've seen here is, you've got several vehicles you aren't even telling them you own. So you have no coverage. One of them is the Stuart Stevens Forestry, and the other is the Ford four-wheel drive.
Oh, the van that they picked up at the,
So, and Randy is getting me, I think he'd be in this morning with it. He's getting me copies of the registrations of those two vehicles so that I can include them into the coverage. The other thing, though, that I wanted to talk about was they also cover bridges. And you have up to $50,000 worth of coverage, $150,000 worth of coverage on bridges. That's if there's a storm and a log comes down, takes the bridge out, and it disappears. And they cover anything that is not a red listed bridge. And they don't cover culverts, and they don't cover pedestrian bridges. But everything else they cover. You have the Elm Street over Pine River covered, and you have the Hunter's Bridge Road over Ossipee River covered. But you don't have the Snow Road Bridge.
It's a culvert.
Huh?
It's a culvert bridge. Snow Road's a culvert.
well, it's listed as an actual bridge, though. You know, it's made up of culverts. It's on the DOT report as a bridge.
Is that a red list?
But it is red listed,
Yeah.
so that won't help.
I didn't think it was red listed. I thought you were afraid it was going to be red listed.
Oh, no, we're waiting for it to be downgraded in weight. It's red listed.
Okay. As soon as that bridge is reconstructed, we ought to make sure it's on the Primex.
Sure, do you have Hunter's Bridge on there?
Yeah. Hunter's Bridge Road over the Ossipee River,
Yeah.
Elm Street over Pine River. What other bridges might we have that I don't know about?
Well, Snow would be the other one. Stevens Road is a culvert, but I think it gets listed as a bridge because it's over 10 feet. So we can verify that, Stevens Road.
Granite's closed.
Daily.
Who?
Granite?
Granite Road is closed right now, red listed, closed.
It's red listed, so you can't cover it.
Yeah, and the other one would be on, Hutchins Pond Road, because but that's a red listed bridge, I believe. It's in disrepair.
Is there a list of the bridges and whether they're...
Yeah, you get a bridge report from the state every year, if it's red listed, and biannually if it's just a regular bridge report.
When I go to that report, and with your permission, if I find bridges on there that are not red listed, to add them to this?
Yeah, and, Elm Street Bridge, I think what I'd want to find out is our guardrails have received damage over the years, and maybe there's some coverage there for those, as well as the Stevens Road Bridge has damage on a brand-new guardrail down there. The little crushed boxes that was hit at some point a couple of years ago in the wintertime. So maybe we should find out if we can get any funds for those, because the guardrails on Elm Street are not only damaged, but they're what they call car flippers, I guess, in the industry, because they ramp right out of the ground so you can ride right up on them, and they don't have a crosswalks at the end. But I don't know if we can, you know, just a thought, because those are inexpensive items.
We can ask.
That crush box, I think when I looked into it, to have it removed and replaced was over $5,000.
Okay, we need to meet so that I can,
Go through this.
yes,
Understood.
that was the list, one of the things I had on my list. Mr. Fuller and the other two board members, we do not have a color printer that runs efficiently in this office. So when you send me stuff that's in red and green and yellow and
Italicized, maybe?
do something different so that we can make it work, because red prints black.
Yeah, and anything that's gonna color the background of it is gonna print out gray or black.
No, sometimes. Depends on,
Let me send you a couple of test documents with different colors, print it, and we'll see which one works.
now the other thing that I want you to keep in, is Deanna has a colored printer. First of all, she says it uses color, it's a laser printer, I did look at that yesterday. She says the cartridges are extremely expensive.
Yes.
And, well, even more so than, let me get to the end, I think I know what you're gonna say, but it's big. And if you tell it to print something, which I tried to do yesterday, we had lunch, and it was still printing the document slower than slow.
How old is it?
Saves money.
I wanna say it's, I asked her the same thing, I think she said it was bought in 2017.
I think, well, you wanted to go ahead, Chuck.
So we replaced a dead printer out in the police department last year with a brother, which is also a color printer. The whole thing was like $500 or somewhere in that neighborhood.
This is a brother also.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, no, they get different memories. The part of it is buying it with the right size memory in it, so capture big files. The other thing is Ron put me onto a place in California to buy, because I've got a brother printer. I've got one probably similar to that, it's color. And, right, cartridges are expensive. Until I found this place in California, literally 1/3 the price.
okay, a couple things. I also have at home a brother, I believe the same one you've got. It may be one model up because it's a couple of years
Yeah.
older. And I got that at a better price than Ron was able to.
And that's good. I mean, just
give
saying.
it to me as.
Yeah.
I've not found the color cartridges, but the color cartridges you're talking about, Mike, are cheap compared to these. Okay, so this one here is, someone, in my humble opinion, someone bought low bidder without looking at the payoff to get low bidder.
It's like, I got you with the machine, I'm gonna make my money with the ink.
Yeah, it's the reverse osmosis filter systems that got me, you know. We can put the whole thing in for your house and it's like $1,200. The first year's, you know, the filters over 3 years will be $1,500.
Now, I tried to find some way to justify a printer on COVID. I can't do it.
No, but I think this has been kind of a quiet debate for years about a color printer here for these offices, because we didn't have them, and I didn't know Deanna had one, but obviously it doesn't work very well, and there's been ongoing printer problems in that office. So I would think if we were going to look at a big purchase or a purchase that's going to cost us a lot of money in ink and cartridges, we might want to be looking at that for next year through the budget cycle, unless it just can't wait. And if there's a cheaper option, a $500 unit, and we can get reasonably priced cartridges for it, maybe we just need to do that.
I think we can get a unit for $500 or less.
And I'll get you the information on the cartridge company today, because literally they're a third of what other chargers.
Is that just for Brother, or is it other?
No, it does it for all the machines. Okay, I'll send it so everybody gets it. But what it amounts to, if you got a color printer and you're using a laser cartridge of any kind, this is like unbelievably cheap, and I've been using them now for 8 months, and they work perfect.
The comiker can't be upgraded to color?
No.
No.
What is she at?
There's the one in your office, if that could be upgraded to
You
color.
can, but you gotta replace the whole thing.
And at that point, you get into the problems of, unless you're specific in telling it to print black all the time, then you start using your colors on printing black, and it goes through a lot.
I'm not sure we should replace any of the existing printers. I think we just need to upgrade
Add.
so that we can have the opportunity, if we need color, to go to a colored printer. But the printers we're presently using, the laser printers, are fairly inexpensive as laser printers go to operate. And I think that would not, I think it'd be a good idea to do that.
What about the one that Deanna has, though, that's color, that doesn't print very good? You're just using it for black and white?
Yeah, that would be. Now, also, when we do this, I want to look, because the state is allowing upgrades, and for printers, for clerks. And I just need to talk to Deanna a little more about that. I think there's a brother that they are agreeing to use, that will set up and use the templates the state needs. And I think we ought to look into that. But I don't want to take all on, because you're about to have to make a phone call anyway. But I wanted to let particularly Mr. Fuller know that sending me stuff to print in color does not work.
Hey, I know you got a color printer down here. It's like, yeah.
All right, then, you'll look into that, and, it's not 10 o'clock yet today.
Showbiz auction house.
Okay, that's where it was. That's what I thought. That's why I didn't find it on my meeting, right? I knew that.
Now,
Okay.
the sheriff requested a letter to do the background that you wanted done.
Yep.
I sent that letter to him yesterday. I think he wanted the board to sign it, but I told him I'd sign it, and he sent back a letter and said that's sufficient. So, I'm assuming that is now moving forward. And we talked about the bridge reports, and I'm done.
All right. Then I'll go to see how far we can get through. Tom, what do you have?
Yeah, I've been trying to get hold of the New Hampshire Insurance Department on the, the fire department list.
Oh, right.
And all that. They've been quite busy. Hold times have been up to the 45 minutes to an hour the past few days. I did go, I got a hold of, reception. She steered me, although the issue was, she steered me to a Clayla Point, the New Hampshire Insurance Department. I called again. I called yesterday when I got when I got through there to her. She didn't call me back last night. I called again this morning at 8 o'clock when they opened. Left another message. Please give me a call, what it's about. But I also called my own insurance company, my homeowners, so I got an increase in the bill. So I told him to call that. And he's going to send me out. He's got a list of what low is pertaining to the fire department, how far, staffing, full-time, part-time, all that. So I should be getting that here next day or two.
And that's how it would affect your personal homeowners.
But
And,
it's the same rating for all insurance companies.
Oh, so everybody's all.
They're using an ISO standard.
Okay, cool.
If I can jump in just for a second, another place you might check and give you good information, state fire marshal. I had to think of that just as he was saying he couldn't get through to the insurance commissioner.
I now have contact with the state fire marshal's office with this issue too. Another story.
Oil containment, I did I'm gonna have to change these up a little bit, but that was the idea that these here are block of the foot on this one, right? Didn't do it on those two, but. That's how I was envisioning that to look down there. And if you look on down the bottom right-hand side of that paper, that total $26.56, and this includes shipping, is for 4 55-gallon drums, because you already had four two-barrel drip trays, 3 gallons of Lacto sealer, to seal the concrete from any spillage, as well oil and chemicals and what have you. I got a brochure on that too.
Well, we're gonna re-pour that down there because
Oh, yeah.
it cracks all the way around the edge of that.
Oh, yeah, it's gotta be a new floor put in there, absolutely. And a 8x7 roll-up door. You can get all that, you know, for the inside of this and the door, $26.56 delivered. The only thing I'm waiting on still is, well, you see it right there, the front concrete wall and the floor. And then Chuck, I was looking over your proposal you gave us.
Yeah.
And I was looking at the bottom number, and something didn't seem right, and I don't know.
Yeah, it's because,
That's added in too.
yeah, because it's two different options. When we talked about it, when we first reviewed
Oh,
it.
so this wasn't the total.
No. This is like 11 minus 4,700.
Yeah. It's what
He
you-
gave me two options for different containers,
All right, so then that brings your system down to 775.
somewhere in that area, yeah.
Yeah, just put it, all right.
$7,075.
$7,075.
So I'm looking at where you've got this overhang, and
Yeah.
personal memory, I think you might have,
Yeah, I think I gotta switch
Rotate
this
it.
around, but I'll still have the same square footage inside.
and I know you were looking at some other containment in the drums, though.
I was.
And those, you have a link for those with, drums?
Yes. I should have made copies of this for you guys. This was the other one I was. These are what I would initially would like to fit in there.
Yeah, that's what I remember. Okay, and they're how long?
Yeah. These are bigger than the,
62 long, 34 wide, 5'2".
and that's the other style drip tray. Gallon tubes.
Right, well then I guess it's just, I wanna make sure they fit.
And that's another style.
Yep.
Which I couldn't fit into here. That's why I went with this style. But maybe you guys take that home and
So that deeper style you couldn't come up with?
couldn't fit 4 of them in here.
I'm gonna go down, it looks like you might have rotated things, so I'm
Yeah.
gonna go double check that. Because I think these should have fit with the math I had in my head, but I'd have.
Well, that's what I say, each square's a foot.
It's 8 feet, the opening from the overhang to the outside of the concrete wall, the foundation wall is 8 feet. You got 8 feet to play with and 13/8, so 14 feet. So you got 8 by 14 is what you gotta put these things in.
That's what I'm gonna.
Right. But I might have it, I got the 14 here,
Yeah.
it might be the 12, 14.
No, I went down and measured it myself with tape. It's 13 feet 8 inches wide to the foundation walls. So you got 14. That's close enough. And it's 8 foot from the edge of the concrete back to the beginning of the overhang. So you got essentially a 14 by 8 foot section to put all 8 barrels in. And if each barrel's 2 feet across, 2, 4, 6, 8, I'm not sure you got room.
Well, the one I got laid out here?
Yeah.
Yeah, because those are only,
So what's the dimensions of a barrel? Isn't it 2 feet across?
yep.
2, 4, 6, 8. You only, yeah, you have 14. Yeah, it'll be really tight to move in there. Be a much greater chance.
Well, you got an 8-foot wide door too, so when you roll that up.
Well, once you've rolled it up, but I'm talking about walking in between the barrels.
Right.
It's going to be extremely tight to move.
Well, that's why I was trying to put them on the edge. Another way, I tried to put them on the edge all the way around. and I couldn't fit it in the way I had it. But, like I said, if you guys take that home, maybe you can fit things in how you...
I'm gonna do a physical visit because I'm better with.
Yeah, I just had, I had in my mind, I had to figure out how big it was.
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, we're gonna need to call Mr. Schofield.
But anyway, that's all I had anyway, so...
Okay.
All right, so, that's it for there, okay. So, how are we dialing in to Mr. Schofield?
He's dialing in.
Is he calling this number?
Yeah, so he'll,
Are you going to non-public for this?
yeah,
I don't know.
have to contract negotiations and there's some proprietary issues with the town.
Propriety issues is okay, contract negotiations are no longer covered under 91A for non-public. Yeah.
There's proprietary stuff.
Okay, well, in that case, we'll make a motion to go into non-public to talk to Mr. Schofield. And then we're gonna resume our meeting 10:30,
Yeah,
okay? And then we'll come back to
because we
public
physically
session.
have to hang this up. And
Right.
dial in.
Right, so we're gonna come back to public, meeting at 10:30. We'll take we'll go into non-public now for that half hour. Okay, I'll make a motion to move out of public into non-public. Do I have
Hold a second.
second? Okay, all in favor?
All right.
Hal and I. All right.
Conference recording stopped. We will now connect you to your call. The host has joined the conference recording started. Conference.
Hello, everyone. We're sorry we're getting back to you late. We had some technical difficulties in connecting to our non-public individual. Anyway, I'll make a motion to resume back into the public meeting, and it is 10:40. Do I have a second?
Second Fuller.
All right, all in favor?
All right.
Hal and I. Thank you. All right, so now Mr. Hart was done, we'll pick up with Mr. Fuller for his weekly reports.
All right, the server rack, I'll come in and put that together in the next day or two. And then Mike, I'll get a hold of you and we'll figure out how to get it mounted inside the building here.
Great.
I will take a look at 2 hiring now banners, for the transfer station attendants. So we can rotate them, or we'll have a capability to put stuff up there until we hire somebody for that. I got a call from Mark at the transfer station yesterday when he was down there on early in the morning doing his calls into waste management. He said there was a very large beaver with a stick headed towards Snow Road Bridge, and he goes, take a look at it, because there's high water on the upper side, there's low water on the lower side. So he thinks it's somewhat flooded. So I reached out to Mike Stevens, and Mike's gonna come by and take a look at that, see if we can get rid of the beaver. I talked to Brad at the transfer station on Saturday. He's gonna come in Wednesday mornings between 10 and noon and pick up the town trash until Mark gets his truck back, and then Mark will resume picking that up. He's supposed to be here today for that. I did not get to the transfer station CE the other day. The emails that came through were doing video calls, and only one person out of the 3 of them's got a video capability. So one of the things I want to take a look at is, once we've got the new system set up here, where we could potentially pop something on a TV, schedule time, get the 3 of them in, do a conference right from here. That way they can sign, seal, and deliver if they've attended their CE, and just do it all at one time. So we've got time before year end to get that done, and they've all said they're willing to come in and sit down and do it together.
I'll join that too.
Okay.
Hi, sir.
Okay. Let's see, the, work session items, so they get the second quote in from, Strojan Heating for the second unit we wanted a quote on. That information was put out to everybody. the edit updates from the last work session to the winter road contract, snow plowing contract, the cemetery ordinance edits as a result of our meeting with Lenny Espy up at the cemetery, and the fire inspection edits that we had from the work session. I sent all that out. I apologize, the fire inspection one didn't go out till this morning. I thought I sent it out yesterday, but I missed that. I included Randy on that one too, because based on reordering and renumbering, and based on the discussion we had, I had a couple of questions that I want him to validate within that, but I made it really clear. It's highlighted in red. I also have, and I'm going to pass it out right now, for our interviews tomorrow, I want to make sure we have several questions. There are standardized questions that every candidate will be asked, and then the board can actually ask their own individual specific questions above that. I do not have a preference on any of the 6 or 8, but to meet human resource standards and hiring practices, all candidates should be asked at least the same questions in a minimum format. So we can take a look at this after this meeting in a work session if you want and come up with that, but we need to make sure it's ready for the morning. And last item, the historic town hall project, the thermometer banners came in, they'll be up within the next week or 2. And we have had a few anonymous donors willing to do a donor challenge match. So anybody that makes a contribution to the historic town hall project, which is a charitable contribution, that will be matched 100% up to $5,000.
Wow.
What that really means is, with that match and the LCHIP grant we went after, if somebody donates $50, it'll actually be worth $200 at the end of the day for the project. So it's a 300% increase on whatever the match amount is. So that went out yesterday, and that'll go through December 1st. And I believe that's all I had on my list.
Okay, I unfortunately did not get to print out some of the work you sent. I got the fire prevention one. I didn't print out the transfer station.
Did you get that email?
I mean, the contract for the plowing.
Did you get it?
I believe I did. I did see a number of emails this morning, and I went through it, but I
The reason I asked it is when I sent that to the town yesterday and I copied both of your email addresses kicked back to me using Outlook.
Oh, wow.
And I couldn't get it to go through. So I actually resent the email from my Gmail to your account. And it went through with no problem whatsoever.
I didn't get that. Close.
I didn't made a comment to my
wife said, Chuck must be real busy because I haven't seen many emails from Chuck.
Okay.
Oh, I've got it here.
I will try and resend it. Maybe it was just the file was too big.
I got it on mine.
Okay.
So
I'll look again, Chuck.
I didn't print them out. Maybe I missed that this morning. I was trying to rush through. I'll print those out, and if we have any filler time in between things tomorrow, should that happen, maybe we can sneak something in that's a quick, like the
Work session item, yeah.
Yeah, because you've got your, the winter plowing contract is about done. The cemetery stuff's gotta be pretty.
Yeah, what I did with the cemetery one, based on our discussion, is I reordered some of the information because it started out talking about a topic, then it changed the topic, then it went back to something similar to the first topic. So I basically reordered a number of things, and then based on the discussion we had around flowers being planted versus containers, I added words there. As soon as we're comfortable with that wording, it'll be very easy to take that, put it into a one-page handout.
Well, even if we're not being able to discuss it because we won't be in a meeting, say, for that, we could go through whatever revisions and hand them off to you, and you could you know,
Yep.
finalize it, I should think, with what we have.
And I did see these in an email, you sent. The questions,
Yep, that was a different one though, that was a different email.
I did see that this morning. Last night.
I guess then the only other one that I had was there was a letter for,
Oh, the warning letter? Yeah, that was actually in there, I updated that.
oh, no, I meant the cemetery, I'm sorry.
Okay, so,
To follow up on what Mr. Espy's concerns were. And I think you were gonna take a
Yep,
stab at that.
and I have-
know it's very sensitive, so
I will, yeah,
it might take a little time to craft because of the nature, so. Great. And I see we have a lot of budget worksheets that came in, that must be Dave, prepping us for the budget cycle. All right. I guess then if you're done, you've got the heating reports that we probably need to look at and make a decision on. So I guess we do have a work session or no?
well, we said tomorrow, after we would just continue
Oh, okay,
and do a work session at the end of the,
great, and we can't do everything. All right, we'll do that. We'll follow up with a work session tomorrow at the end of our interview
Interviews.
cycle.
In that work session tomorrow, can we talk about, a letter to be sent to the applicants that we are no longer going to
Yes.
consider that we're not indeed applicants? I've got one that is requesting information about the process and what's happening. I wrote a letter which Christine thought was a little hard, and she thought it ought to be soft.
We can certainly do that. I think,
there really isn't. You know.
yeah, no, I think I made one a couple of years ago,
Yeah.
just as a generic thank you for your interest letter kind of thing. You'll keep your resume on file or something, you know, the standard.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's templates for them Indeed that have those.
No doubt. So yes, we certainly can cover that. All right, then, we do have the contract from HEB for the whole Snow Road, bridge project, which I think maybe, did I send that in to you, Brian, at the office?
I don't think so, but
Okay.
I'm not positive.
It is, multifaceted for parts of the project to be done, dealing with the USDA and working with them to get us over the funding of it.
I did not receive that.
Okay, it's all encompassing, and it's $64,500 is a projected number. The problem for the HEB in this is if they're going to do it on an hourly basis, and there's like 3 different things encompassed in this contract. They have no idea how much time or in-depth that any of this is gonna be, because it's dealing with the USDA, who's apt to ask for more or less. You know, there's no defined strategy going forward, so. We can go through that tomorrow, I guess, make sure everybody's got that. I thought I sent it out, but.
I did, you did, I read it last week.
Okay, then you get that too, Tom?
I read it, but I didn't print it.
More than a week old, said that I might.
Yeah.
Okay. Did anybody have any?
No issues.
Okay, then I'll make a motion that we sign that then, because I just don't see there's an alternative to dealing with this, because it's so gray area unknown. You just have to move forward. So I'll make a motion, we do sign that. Brian probably has it, I should think, on his computer. And,
So let me, before you make your motion.
yes,
So, we sign this based on their thought process for dealing with USDA documentation, answering questions.
oversight of the construction.
Oversight of construction. If we don't get the USDA grant,
Right, then
does that change that, or negate it, or is
to,
it worded such that if the USDA is not in there, it's still the construction oversight, but none of the
to the point of anything at that point in time when we're no longer part of the process,
Yeah.
we won't be paying for anything going
Perfect.
forward.
Okay.
But they're obviously doing some work for us now to keep the
To do
project
that.
alive, because it was to, a level that I couldn't, you need to be an engineer to work this through. There's certain filings that needed to be done, and some of them were already done. They were able to get them out for us in short order, which really jumped a couple of months ahead in the whole schedule.
Do we have any idea what the price tag's gonna get us for this year, part of it, or
I don't
any
at this,
estimation?
I don't at this point. We can certainly call Chris and get an update on where things are. The last email from the USDA, from Heather Malone, was she was looking to get this over the finish line, and there was just like two or three bullet items needed to be done, and that's what Chris was working on. Getting that done, my hope is then we actually are approved, and the money that we get from the USDA will cover these costs. Anything over $300,000 if the town is approved will be covered in this amount of money going forward with the price of the bridge, past engineering payments that we've made, permitting, surveying, and anything going forward that we've engaged in now all the way through the end of the project. All should come in under, it won't cost the town any more than we started out figuring that was up.
Good,
So,
all right,
okay,
make a motion,
I will make a motion that we sign that contract as soon as it's printed out for us.
Fuller second.
You, all in favor?
All right.
Okay, Alan, aye. Thank you. I guess at that, there's, nothing else on the list I'm looking at. At least we're keeping it to one page again. Thank you for that, Brian. He tries to push me over that line. And yeah, it's right up to one more item. Squeezed it in on the agenda.
Just take the margins out there and tie it in, you
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have anything else that we need to be brought up today. Did a bunch of work with Brian, and I sat down on the budget last week, went through a lot of that, and I do have an update with the roads, though. Green Mountain Road, they're gonna start grinding tomorrow. There was a one-day delay, so they'll be out there. Ron Evans is going to be looking at getting either concrete work or a solution on Pine River Culvert for the head walls, so that the paving can take place there. I understand the bridge process is moved to below the deck, so the work is being done underneath. I haven't got the latest update on that, but my hope is by the 20th, that will be probably before the 20th. I'd like to see it done this week, but the 20th, the paving crew would be here anyway. So hopefully that will be done by then, and we can pave that deck and open that road. And then once we've ground the road, traffic will be able to still be maintained on the road while it's being ground up. But Ron Evans will come in and add materials where he can. He told me this morning he didn't think we were probably going to have a lot of areas to put material on that road because it would significantly impact driveway heights. Because once you grind, it usually fluffs the road up. So he's going to try and put material where he thinks it would be best practice. Hopefully we lay down our asphalt on the surface layer right after the base layer, and it stays intact. Other than that, the next phase will need a lot of work. So that next phase that goes beyond Ryfield Road, when we get down past the boat storage, up out to High Watch, that's gonna, Winter Road actually, that's gonna take some serious reconstruction.
So the current timeline looks like we could be done the Green Mountain program and the bridge well before Labor Day, or?
Yes, it should be done before the end of the month, I'm hoping. It'll be probably tight, but in that frame. When they come in, hopefully they're planning to come in on the 20th and pave the base coat, and the wearing surface should come right after that. So I imagine within that week, it should be done. Labor Day, we should.
Everything will be done.
Right, that's my hope.
Okay.
Chris?
And what's the section of Green Mountain being worked on tomorrow?
That is a mile and a quarter that extends from where we previously left off.
quotes, like, is it Ryefield towards?
It'll go up to, past Ryefield, it'll continue where we left off, up beyond Ryefield Road to where there's a small boat storage area. There's a culvert just after that boat storage area, and that'll be the end. The telephone poles are listed in the contract. It'll give you the pole to pole. I don't know what else you'd call the section. Well, I don't.
The middle.
Phase 2. And with that, I guess if there's anybody else who has anything else, now would be the time. I think that's all I had to bring up.
Yep.
All right, then I'm gonna make a motion to adjourn. Do I hear a second?
No second.
All right, all in favor?
All right.
Hal and I, thank you, everyone. With that.
Conference recording stopped.